Well, this is a lot better than anyone had any reason to expect. The Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg comedy movie collective, if you like, could easily be the most underappreciated yet popular filmmaking team working right now, in as much as their movies are generally popular and make money yet somehow manage to feel like they're being undersold. They make these really funny movies like Knocked Up, Pineapple Express, This Is the End, Neighbors, The Night Before, and those movies generally make money and people more or less agree that they're pretty damn funny, but they also do such a good job affecting this loose, goofy, we're just wacky stoners making shit up as we go vibe that it's easy to miss that there's real insight and talent there. Like opposite world Kevin Smith, I guess. Modern Kevin Smith, certainly. Now, case in point, Sausage Party looks and feels deliberately like a one-joke stoner premise. You know, like, hey, what if we did one of those Pixar cartoons where a bunch of inanimate objects talk and have human emotions and shit, but like, in our version, they swear and fuck and get high? Wouldn't that be funny? And if you want to take it as just that, yeah, it fits into that definition, and in that context, it's funny as all hell. It's easily the best Pixar spoof anyone has ever put together, and thinking on it, it's probably the funniest genre spoof period since at least the Naked Gun movies. Seriously, if you take anything else away from this review, take away that Sausage Party is fucking hilarious. I haven't laughed this much, this hard, this frequently at any movie since I was a toddler falling on my fucking ass watching my dad's old Three Stooges tapes. And while a lot of it is shock humor, a lot more of it is just old-fashioned, shtick-heavy, punny, lounge-act stand-up material that just plain goddamn works. I describe it, but, you know, you don't want to blow a good joke, although I'll probably end up doing that a few times here anyway. Bottom line, this movie is piss-your-pants funny, and not just because I almost laughed hard enough to do that, because it's the kind of humor where pissing your pants would actually be the punchline. That's kind of what we're working with here. Now, what's key to understanding why Sausage Party is not only funny but kind of brilliant is that it is emphatically a spoof. Maybe not exactly a satire, but definitely a parody. Specifically, a parody of the Pixar animation brand and their go-to formula of projecting human voices, personalities, and insecurities onto inanimate objects or talking fish. The premise even sounds like a Pixar setup if they ever decided to do a movie about groceries. The story takes place almost entirely in a supermarket where the food is all alive in an anthropomorphic sense, and the hero is Seth Rogen as a hot dog named Frank who discovers the previously unknown truth that the humans who buy the food are actually taking it home to eat it, and tries to warn his friends and save everybody. In particular, his girlfriend Brenda, played by Kristen Wiig, who of course is a hot dog bun. Get it. So Sausage Party's main joke is that this premise looks and sounds like any other random family cartoon, but it packs itself full of all the quote-unquote adult stuff about sex and body functions and concepts of race and gender as it relates to the humanity of the characters that Pixar makes an active point of avoiding. And the thing is, doing that well, and it does it really fucking well, is really all the movie would have had to do to be funny and a little bit insightful, but it goes a little bit further. You see, we're all conditioned to think of bathroom jokes as inherently juvenile, but the true function of scatological humor as a tool of satire is to highlight the absurdities of fiction by zooming in on the stuff that fictional works leave out for effect. Kind of like how King Kong becomes a different movie if you even mention that he's probably taking Volkswagen-sized gorilla shits all over New York City. There, you see, now it's funny. So if this was just a Pixar movie, but we're taking the humanizing aspect all the way to the edge, it would already be funny enough and way overdue considering how oppressively that aesthetic has come to dominate Western animation. Like, I love Pixar, but it's about time someone took the piss out of it. But where Sausage Party rises to near greatness is in recognizing that the other half of the Pixar aesthetic is that it can never just be a talking car movie or a talking fish movie or whatever. It has to be some big poignant metaphor for fatherhood or growing up or whatever else they're on. And in that spirit, what Rogen and company have decided is that they're also making a send-up of religion. Really. And that is where Sausage Party goes from being just a funny distraction to something like an inheritor to the mantle of Golden Age South Park, i.e. back before South Park was just two middle-aged Broadway millionaires yelling at millennials to get off their lawn. You see, the big idea we're working from here is that the food actually thinks the human shoppers are gods taking them off to like grocery heaven or something. And since only the fresh and undamaged food gets picked, they've developed this whole weird theology where even though they want to get out of their packages and explore and party and fuck, and mostly fuck because it's a comedy, they don't do that because giving into those urges would make them unclean and no longer favored by the gods and, hey look, a metaphor. So Frank's journey becomes becomes not just telling everyone the truth and saving all his friends, but figuring out how best to impart this radical new idea that they need to stop worrying about sin and gods and the afterlife and just live in the moment. And in that respect, it kind of becomes the sharpest movie about atheism, agnosticism, whatever you want to call it, since probably the invention of lying. And on balance, it's probably funnier than that. Now, this would all almost be on the verge of being pretty fucking pretentious if the actual jokes weren't aiming to be as lowbrow, shticky, and dad-jokey as possible. It's basically wall-to-wall food puns, visual humor about food that looks like genitalia and how it would fuck if it could, and just about every worn-out racial and ethnic caricature you can imagine being applied to food, from Jewish bagels to gay fruit to Salma Hayek showing up as a lesbian taco to the German sauerkraut forming a fascist movement that wants to exterminate the juice. Yeah, it's like that. But all this lowbrow humor has the effect of balancing out all of the more insightful philosophical stuff. It's the kind of thing that feels like it should be super offensive, and it's certainly not my place to tell anyone how they will or should react to it, and for fuck's sake, can we please not have this be one of those movies where if someone says they were offended, the internet starts crying about censorship and tries to burn a cross on their lawn or whatever? What I will say is that for me at least, Sausage Party is pointedly lacking any of the punching down, self-righteous, show-offy, bullying sensibility that you sometimes get from the usual suspects when it comes to adult animation. It's all set up to work on multiple levels is the thing. Just like how the atheism allegory is funny because they're deflating the highfalutin metaphor-mongering of the Pixar formula, but then they can also turn around and go, no, but hey, for real, here's some actual insightful jokes about organized religion. Gags like the kosher food and the halal food fighting over aisle space, or a bottle of Firewater branded whiskey that's a Native American shaman, is mostly trading in the shock value of holy shit, there's some ethnic humor you don't see anymore, but it's also grounded in a secondary level of, you know, hey, isn't it kind of fucked up that we project ethnicity and stereotypes onto food products and labeling and shit? But whatever, that's like think piece shit for another day. The bottom line for now is that Sausage Party is fucking hysterical, easily the funniest movie I've seen all summer. 3.5 stars, believe the hype.